Hello, my literary luminaries, and welcome back to another Top 5 Thursday. This has been a struggle for me to come up with this list all month. And I've literally been thinking about it all month. If any of you know me, like, outside of YouTube, and probably even if you know me, on the internet, I don't like talking about myself. I'm not good at, the stories about myself. I'm not good at, autobiographies I had to write in school. I very much struggled with. It's just not a thing I enjoy doing. Talking about myself, to me, is boring. So, this week's Top 5 Thursday is your top 5 favorite videos or posts that you've personally made. Now, they're very specific that it has to be ones that you've made. This isn't a time for you to showcase other people. This is where I have the problem. Because I'm much better at showcasing other people than I am showcasing myself. So it literally took me until today, but I think I've come up with 5 posts. They're all from the blogs, so while I won't have links for them up on the screen because I'm not quite savvy enough to do that, there will be links down in the description below to all 5 of the posts that I'm going to talk about. So, without further ado, let's get started. Number one, I'm cheating with a bit because I'm going to choose the blog post that I put up when I first joined BookTube. I've had so much fun in the, actually, almost a complete year since I really properly started BookTube. I looked up like the very first video where I announced that I was going to be doing BookTube was on July 25th, which is this coming Saturday, which is super cool. The blog post in question is from the beginning of August because it's my BookTube newbie tag, but it's really cool after a year now to see that at least somewhat consistently I've been able to put up the videos like I wanted to and be able to share with you guys, be able to connect, start growing the community. It's been so much fun to do. So I figured, since I've had so much fun with this, since it's meant so much, since it's the only reason I'm really here at the moment, that really deserved to be the first one on the list. Number two is a blog post that I wrote recently. Actually, I think all of these, except for the YouTube one, are going to be sort of backwards from present day to the past. But it's one that I wrote back last month, middle of last month, and the title of the post is The Trouble with Diversity, because I've been watching a lot of arguments on both sides of the issue on writing characters from the LGBTQ spectrum, from people with disabilities. There's been a lot of talk about Me Before You, just all sorts of things. And I've seen a lot of people that say we need, to write more diverse characters, we have to have more of this stuff in fiction, everybody should be, trying to do something with these. And then the opposite side of the spectrum, they're like, no, if you're not LGBT, if you're not disabled, if you're not whatever you want to write, you shouldn't be writing them. And it really seems to fall on either of those two spectrums, and it frustrates me a lot. And so this was my, at least first attempt to kind of get some of my thoughts down on the matter. Being someone on the LGBTQ spectrum myself, I have some opinions on that. Having written a character with a disability, I have some opinions on that. So I'm really pleased with it. I think the blog post turned out well. So, I don't know, you can decide for yourself. Number 3. The next post that I'd like to talk about, I wrote in April of 2016. It's called Working Through the Lies or With Them. And it's my post talking about attempting to write and deal with my depression at the same time. It's not easy. And I'm still fighting with it now. I've been doing a bit better, but there's a very strong piece of me that I just don't have motivation to do anything. And I love writing. I love these characters. But it's very easy to just sit back and be like, I don't want to do it today. Meh. I'm gonna watch YouTube videos all day. And I've done that way too many times. And it's something that I need to work on as I try and, move closer to being, a professional-ish author type person. And the blog post, talks about how I got to where I am now, that there was a lot of difficulty, there was a massive breaking point, and I'm sort of building myself back out of that. But what I really like the blog post for is right at the bottom, because it focuses on something that I can just barely see it over the top of my computer screen at the moment. I have a Post-it note on the little board that lives back there that says, "I am a writer, I write books." And I believe I got that from my grad school residencies, because that's very much, I don't know if I have a blog post about this or not, but I don't think it's going to be on this list, but I may try and find it and add it as an extra down below. I have a very big opinion on whether or not to call someone an aspiring author. I don't believe in the term. Either you're a writer or you're not. You're an author or you're not. The only thing that stands between those two is what you believe you are. So, if you want to write books, if you write stories, if you write poetry, if you write anything at all, you're an author. It doesn't make you any less an author than Tolkien or George R. R. Martin or Shakespeare or anything. You're all authors. You all write. I am a writer. I write books. I don't aspire to be anything. I am one. I really need to find that blog post. But it's the mantra that I use whenever the depression starts eating, is because depression lies, and it's hard to remember that. But that's why I have that note. You can tell I have opinions on that one, can't you? Number 4. Speaking of things I have strong opinions on, number 4, the title of the blog is called "I Haven't Shot a Gun in 30 Years," or 50. I think that's what. 55. Ooh. I can't see, it's behind the screen where my camera is at the moment. This is a blog post talking about the character of Atticus Finch. Wow, you've heard me say that name a lot recently. And the sort of scandal that arose when Go Set a Watchman came out, and the fact that there was what seemed like a massive break in Atticus's character. And a lot of people, at least to my eye, not quite doing their research on the whole matter, on who Atticus was, both of the stories and to Harper Lee. There was a lot of stuff going on, and as you all know, Atticus is very, very dear to my heart, and so I went to the interwebs, and I wrote a defense of my dear defense lawyer. I didn't think that sentence through. I had a lot of fun writing it. I've had a couple people tell me that they were quite pleased by it, so it's, I don't know. It's Atticus Finch, of course it's one of my favorite posts. And number 5. Number 5 is actually the oldest. I know I stopped telling y'all when they were, but they were all, in the past couple months this year. This one is the oldest one because I wrote this in August of 2014. And the title of the blog is "How to Quit Your Job and Make Millions as an Indie Author." I hate articles with those titles because they frustrate me immensely. Because when you actually go and read them, it's not just, "Oh, I quit my job, and now 6 months later, I make 6 figures a year, and I live in Fiji." But it's not actually that simple. And so I was very frustrated, and at that point, I had lost my job, not recently, because I'd lost it in February of 2014, but, I was either still unemployed or almost going to be employed again. I was very frustrated by the whole thing, is saying, okay, quit my job. Fine, I don't have a job. Why am I not making millions and living in Tahiti? This doesn't work that way. And so I wrote a rant, really, over on the blog. But I've always been very pleased with it, because it's one of the few articles that I think I gave a good title to. I'm not good at titling things to make people want to click and read them. But hey, that's why they named those things that, so meh. But, so, it seemed to be a good way to wrap it all up, I suppose. But, those are my top 5 favorite posts. I will track down that 6th, and I'll try and put the link to that also down in the description, but all of the ones that I have since listed, I will put a link to, so if you'd like to go read them, absolutely feel free. And if you haven't stopped by the blog before, there's a whole bunch of stuff for you to read, including an ongoing serial called Tales from the Cafe, which is all about where I work and all of us under pseudonyms and whatnot. There's also book reviews that are usually out on Wednesdays and occasionally Saturdays. And then, of course, all the blog posts more similar to these on Mondays. So, let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, as always. Or you can always find me on Twitter, at KRyanFrey. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It is very much appreciated. And hey, if you're new around here, why not subscribe to be notified whenever new videos come out? As usual, they should always be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But until next time, I will bid you all adieu, and I will see you all on Tuesday for another Tuesday Talks. Bye! Hello, my literary luminaries, and I forgot a message. Poop. Number 1, I'm cheating on a bit. Dear Coughing Jags, you really need to stop. Man, my voice is almost, like, totally back. I still have an awful cough. Yay, tea.